On Friday, June 12th, history was made. In case you weren't paying attention, SpaceX went public and is twice as big as any previous initial public offering that there's ever been. It was quite a historic event, and it was very exciting. We can't wait to talk more about it. I'm Adam Anderson, owner and founder of WealthGuard Advisors.
Hello, I'm Blake Anderson, Certified Financial Planner. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thanks for being with us. So Blake, let's talk about this IPO. Of course, we're getting all kinds of buzz. People are talking about it. You can't miss it on the news. It was huge. What do you think?
Absolutely huge. We've had a number of clients ask about it, including some clients who you think wouldn't be up to date on these types of things. But that's the nature of a very large, very public, lots of headlines IPO like this. So it's definitely making waves in the market. It's interesting how it ties into AI through the XAI component of the company. And then also the rockets are fun as well.
Me personally, I'm benefiting from Starlink. I love it. We live in a rural area. Starlink is a lifesaver, changed the way I do business. And it's just a wonderful thing. So one of the things that happened is it really sucked all the air out of the market on Friday of all the other space companies. We've been trading in Rocket Labs and ASTS and other companies related to space and have done very well. Rocket Labs, if you looked at their chart, off the charts growth that they've had, but really sucked the air out of them. And I kind of think that in case you think you missed the rocket ship with SpaceX, some of these other companies that we've had so much success, they're still backlogged with their products and services, are, I think, maybe a good opportunity to be in some of those things if you felt like you missed it, because SpaceX has up 19% on Friday, another, I think, 10% today, if I'm not mistaken, Blake.
It was almost 20% again.
Oh my goodness, I didn't look at it before the close. Wow. Well, that's a big move. So is it too late to jump on it? What do you think, Blake?
I am a little worried with SpaceX. The concern I have is that there was, despite the company being valued so highly, only a very small amount of that was actually issued for public offering. So there's not a whole lot of supply of SpaceX shares available relative to the amount of demand out there. And I think that's part of what's driving these valuations so high. That's not to say that the company can't end up justifying these valuations down the road. There's definitely arguments being made for that, but it's something I'm concerned about. And I do think these other space companies are also valuable. They are down pretty significantly over the last week or two, but I think that has to do with how for a long time people who wanted to be invested in SpaceX couldn't be. And so they were buying these Rocket Labs, AST SpaceMobile as proxies. And so now that SpaceX is available, they were able to sell these other rocket companies to buy the SpaceX they had been wanting for a long time. I don't think that necessarily means these other companies have issues or even aren't competitive in the face of SpaceX. I think they have their own niches and their own business models are very exciting. And so I would be careful with SpaceX and anticipate needing a long time before your investment works out.
So in the past, we've seen a lot of IPOs. They come public, they ramp up, and then they sell off, and they give you a second opportunity, often to buy at the IPO price or even lower, as we've seen. And I know that that's one of the reasons why we've been a little bit not as excited, because we've seen that happen so many times that we're a little bit skittish towards doing, jumping on the bandwagon right out of the gate unless you were actually IPO. And this is the pre-IPO shares were available. It was a little bit of work to get those for those who wanted them. One of the ways that we got them is by using a fund that has private shares fund, and that has a number of different IPOs in it, including SpaceX. So that's one way that we were able to get pre-IPO shares a while back ago for some of our clients. But we also had that opportunity to actually buy directly, which is has not really been something that has been available. And I think maybe that changes the game a little bit. So there's opportunities out there, Rocket Labs, ASTS, or even still jumping on SpaceX. And there's other companies out there, Firefly, that are also benefiting from the space movement. So the market was up in general. Last time we spoke, the market was really pulling in a tough direction, and it was selling off. Let's take a look at the SPY, the S&P 500 index. We really, last time we talked, we were kind of in the middle of this scariness going on there. But boy, has it rallied Thursday, Friday, Monday. And we had a big day today, really just almost coming up. So we really broke, we were very concerned that we broke this trend on the down, but now we are moving back up.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that we're not out of this bull market, and I know there's a lot of, with all the euphoria and greed that comes along with the bull market, it also kind of puts investors on edge, and we see this a lot where the first sign of trouble, people are ready to jump ship. And most of the time we see things like this where we see a small healthy correction, 5 to 10% correction, and returns to growth. And we should expect to see more corrections like this. In fact, I wouldn't have minded seeing even a little bit more of a correction than we did see, because when we turn around this quickly, it's hard to get the money invested effectively. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple more sell-offs like this before this bull market ends, and not be too concerned when we do see a little pullback.
So let's talk about why it turned around so fast. And I think one is there's a little euphoria around space exploration that is generating excitement in investing. But the most important thing is that the news of a deal with Iran has been struck. Supposedly, we've kind of heard this before, but this actually looks like they actually struck a deal. Is it going to stick or is it going to sign? They're going to sign on Friday, the agreement. And the Strait of Hormuz has been opened, or is opening, and the U.S. naval blockade is being lifted. So that really sent oil prices down. So West Texas crude is down to $80 a barrel. That, and also our new federal chairman, Kevin Warsh, is going to have his first meeting on Wednesday. We'll get an idea for what his take is on inflation and how it's being treated. And a lot of people feel that he's not going to raise interest rates as fast as maybe they expected. So what we're seeing is that the fear of rates going up is not as great. So we got three main things that are really driving this market right now. The buzz around space exploration, interest rates maybe being more stable than we thought, and the Strait of Hormuz opening up.
Yeah, it is a lot of good signs for the market right now. Like I said, it continues to go up. I still hear lots of it's all a bubble talk, and I don't think that's going away. So it's just something that you have to accept, that as we keep receiving better than expected news, that it's okay that the market's going up and we're at highs, and the numbers are backing it up. The fundamentals of these companies' earnings are good. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that where the earnings aren't quite there, but on the whole, companies are making good money. They're turning around, making good profits, and it's justifying the valuations of the current market environment.
Yeah, I was around in the late 90s and for the dot-com bubble, and the thing is that those companies did not have earnings. And when they came out with their reports and their quarterly earnings reports, and their earnings were nothing, finally, we all realized the emperor was wearing no clothes. So this is not that case. We definitely have strong earnings with so many of the companies we're looking at, and just really strong. I did want to share one last thing, Blake, that we've been talking about the Magnificent Seven, these 7 companies that have been leading the market. The market has been very narrow, and this is something I think is really important, and driven by these 7 companies, which is Amazon and Google and Apple and Tesla, and this is XMAG. We take the the 7 companies out of the S&P 500 and look at how that's going up. And then let's look at MAGs, just the Magnificent Seven, and look at that. This is really, I think, a positive thing that we're seeing a broadening out of the market, and where the gains are not necessarily being driven by 7 individual companies. So I think that is a really strong thing for the market, is that it's a broadening market. It's got more breadth to it. So
Thanks so much for joining us today. I know this is a crazy market, and we'll continue to bring you coverage every week. If you have questions for us or would like to visit with us, we'd be happy to meet with you for free consultations. Reminder here, WealthGuard Advisors, we are a registered investment advisory firm registered directly with the Securities Exchange Commission. And part of that is a fiduciary responsibility towards our clients, where we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest. So if that's something that sounds good to you and would love to discuss your retirement plans, your financial situation, your investments, we'd love a chance to be of help. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
yes, thanks again. Have a good afternoon. Bye.